The Disney Cruise Line is expanding with new ships and new itineraries like never before. To say I'm just a little bit excited about this would be a total understatement. I am super duper mega excited for all of this news and for all of the future experiences that we're going to have together on the Disney Cruise Line. And in today's video, I'm going to go over all of the news and what we know confirmed coming for 2020 and what I predict every single ship will call home port by 2023. First, let's start with a quick overview of everything that we know for sure is coming and has been confirmed by Disney. Disney is adding not 2, but 3 new ships to the fleet, almost doubling the size from 4 to 7, and all of the ships will be out and about by 2023. The new ships will be slightly bigger than the Dream and Fantasy and will no doubt feature some of the most modern technology and cruise advancements that we've seen. Disney also just confirmed several new and very exciting things coming to the Disney Cruise Line in 2020. First up, Disney confirmed that starting in early 2020, there will be 3 ships that call Florida home and will make their home port either Port Canaveral or Miami. These Florida cruises are spectacular, but what makes them even better is that all of these new itineraries will apparently include stops at Disney's own private piece of paradise, Castaway Cay. Now, you know how much I love Castaway Cay, so I'm excited about all of this news. Disney also confirmed that the Wonder will be making its way back to Puerto Rico in 2020. I've never tried one of those direct cruises before. I hope to try one in the future. Disney also announced that the Disney Wonder will have a brand new home port in 2020. It will be leaving from New Orleans, Louisiana for very special Caribbean cruises. And last but certainly not least, the news that I am the most excited about, somewhere that I have been wanting Disney Cruise Line to go back for a long time. They officially confirmed that in 2020 the Disney Wonder will return to Hawaii. This is one that I just have to find a way to get on. Some way, somehow, I'm gonna have to save up the money for years to come so that I can go and experience this very special itinerary to Hawaii, seeing all sorts of different islands. It's not going to Aulani, but it'll go to other islands in Hawaii. I'm gonna be saving up like crazy for this one. Now, that's what we know for sure, but now let's get into a few predictions and rumors for the future. First and foremost, I have very little doubt that the rumors about Disney considering a second private island in the Bahamas is absolutely true. With all of these new ships, they're definitely going to need another private island. We really don't know where they're going to go, and they could change their mind last minute, especially if they do a survey of the environment and they find that the wildlife would not be able to take the stress of them constructing on the island, so they might change their minds a few times, but they definitely have to start working if they do want to have a second island ready in time for these new cruise ships coming very soon. Now, considering the timeline of when these new ships are scheduled to be released in 2023, that's the last one, I wonder if we're going to hear more about this private island relatively soon, maybe within the next 6 months or a year, and what Disney is planning. Maybe they won't tell us the location, but maybe they'll tell us they're looking and they're considering a few places, and they have to be very careful of the environment. They really do care about that. They want to make sure the environment can handle the stress of construction, but after they know for sure, I'm hoping we hear from them. Not too long ago, Disney did a survey of some cruise guests to see if they would be interested in other themed cruises. For example, the Food and Wine Festival cruise sounds incredible, the Mickey Mouse cruise, the Walt Disney World cruise. There are all sorts of themes that they had on this survey. You can find more about it at the I button and in the description of this video, but it brings one question to mind. Would this mean the end of the standard non-themed Disney cruise? I actually wouldn't be surprised if this one comes true, simply because Disney wants to enhance the experience for everyone, not just the repeat guests and the Castaway Club members, but those first-time guests too. They're able to see this and experience this amazing theme, and maybe they want to try another theme in the future, and this applies to all of us. We all want to try these new themes, so it's a way for Disney to really enhance the experience and also keep us coming back. Okay, now it's time to consider those predictions for the future, and keep in mind these are just coming from my head. No rumors, no speculation, just Michael's idea of where all of the ships will call home port in 2023. Now let's start off with some easier predictions, at least ones in my opinion. The Wonder and the Magic, Disney's 2 oldest ships. The Magic, I believe, will remain relatively unchanged. We'll continue to see those European cruises and Caribbean cruises and transatlantic cruises and Canadian cruises and Bermuda cruises. Think of the Magic as a jack of all trades. Now for the Wonder, I have very little doubt that it will continue to serve Alaska. Many of us love that cruise. I promise I'm going to go on one in the future. They sound unbelievable. But when it comes to a home port, I have a feeling maybe either Galveston Galveston or the new home port of New Orleans. I also believe that the Wonder will continue to serve the West Coast with some of those very special cruises, and I'm hoping that the Hawaiian cruise is so popular that it also goes to Hawaii quite a bit more. So much for the easy stuff. Now on to the more difficult predictions, at least in my opinion, and let's skip the Dream and Fantasy for just a moment. I'm going to come back to them, and let's start with those 3 new ships. The first new ship comes out in 2021, and if I had to guess, it's going to take a prime spot in Port Canaveral. And if I'm guessing even further, I have a feeling it's going to take the Disney Dreams job of those shorter cruises around the Caribbean and a stop at Disney's private island, perhaps Castaway Cay. You notice I say perhaps there. I'm talking about some other Disney private island if they decide to do that. One way or another, it's going to stop at a private island owned by Disney. The next new ship comes out a year later in 2022, and if I had to guess, it's likely going to sit right next to the other new ship that came out a year earlier, and this one I have a feeling might take the Disney Fantasy's job with those longer cruises around the Caribbean, maybe the 7-night with a stop at a Disney private island. The reason why I think these 2 new ships may replace the Dream and Fantasy in Port Canaveral is simply because Port Canaveral is the spot where a lot of first-time cruisers may just get their first taste of cruising, and you feel like Disney wants to put their prime ship in that location with the newest technology and latest entertainment. They want to put that in front of those first-time guests so they become long-term Castaway Club members. The last new ship comes out in 2023, and this one is definitely a little bit tougher to predict. I have a feeling it could be one of 2 different things. Option 1, perhaps it will come to Port Canaveral and take that rumored 3rd ship spot at this very popular port, but to be honest, I kind of doubt that. The reason for that is that you have the 3 latest ships at one port. To me, that just doesn't feel right, so that brings us to option B. Option B, this 3rd new ship could come to another very popular port in Florida. They could make their way to Miami, and that would make a lot of sense since I've been reading a lot about Disney indicating a lot of interest in expanding the adventures from Miami. Last but not least, we come to the ships that I think are the most difficult to predict. Where are the Dream and Fantasy going to call home? Starting off with the Fantasy, considering those major investments that are either rumored or somewhat confirmed about the port of Miami, I really wouldn't be shocked to hear about the Fantasy taking up another spot in Miami. That would be 2 relatively new ships at this one port. At the same time, let's not forget Galveston, Texas, which is another very popular port for the Disney Cruise Line, so perhaps the Fantasy will call that one home. That one's kind of tough. Last but not least, we have the Dream, and this one, in my opinion, is a bit of a wild card. My theory is that the Dream could have maybe 1 or several new home ports. One that comes to mind immediately, the newly announced New Orleans port. Another thought is that it could come to the West Coast and take up even more Alaskan cruises because they are so popular, maybe even more Hawaii cruises, but somehow I doubt it. To me, it feels like they really want to stay in the Caribbean and Bahamas as much as possible, maybe Galveston, maybe New Orleans, maybe somewhere totally new. It is impossible to know for sure at this point, but it is fun to imagine what the future of the Disney Cruise Line might look like. Now, those are my predictions for where the Disney cruise ships may call home in the future. Now, it's your turn to make those predictions. In the comments of this video, I have a list of all of the different ships. Copy and paste that list into your comments and take a guess. Where do you think the different ships will call home? We'll come back to this video and in 5 years and see who our true cruise aficionados are. Also, let me know in the comments what you think about the idea of Disney taking away the non-themed Disney cruises and making them all themed. Do you like that idea? Do you not like that idea? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being a part of the magic with me. Until next time, have a magical day and I'll see you on board.